Honey, come to bed. The news is on.
Maybe I was a Nazi. What you gonna do about it? For John Demjanjuk, it's a sort of homecoming. Originally from the Ukraine, this former auto worker was seen leaving his house in a stretcher in Canton, Ohio, then put on a plane in Cleveland, going back to Germany, where he will stand trial for the deaths of 29,000 Poles and Jews at Sobibor concentration camp in Poland during World War II. Often using a mistaken identity plea, Demjanjuk has had his citizenship revoked several times, but managed to stay in Cleveland, which many consider a proper punishment. Until now. The only people now being pursued are Pope Benedict, a Nazi youth involuntarily, and that creepy guy down the street from you. Of course, they're being pursued by pissed off Jews who subjugate Palestinians to conditions akin to concentration camps. Speaking of war criminals, sadly it takes a foreign judge to investigate our illicit activities. Spanish Judge Baltasar Garzón is demanding an investigation into the Bush administration's alleged torture at Gitmo to reveal, quote, an authorized and systematic plan of torture and mistreatment of person denied freedom without any charge whatsoever and without the rights enjoyed by any detainee. Never one to shy away from controversy, Dick the Cheney gave Judge Garzón ample evidence while appearing on Face the Nation this week, growling, quote, we had captured these people, we had pursued interrogation in a normal way, we decided that we needed some enhanced techniques. So we went to the Justice Department, and the controversy has arisen over the opinions written by the Justice Department. The reason we went to the Justice Department wasn't because we felt we were going to take some kind of freehand assault on these people, or that we were in the torture business. End quote. Yep, you heard the VP right. It wasn't the torture, it was those evil lawyers and their opinions. Aren't you proud to be an American? And still, we continue to commit war crimes. Doctors in Afghanistan are baffled by burns suffered by civilians in the Farah province. Burns similar to those reported by Palestinian doctors only months ago. White phosphorus, burning victims for 60 seconds at 5,000 degrees, is purely medieval. Okay when used to light the sky, but a war crime when used on the mass populace. Of course the U.S. blames Afghan insurgents and the Taliban, but the growing number of cases mirrors those in Gaza, where U.S. weapons, Israeli troops, and our test bombing range, better known as Palestine. On a related note, Defense Secretary Gates replaced McKiernan as the top head and commander of NATO and U.S. troops in Afghanistan for the much more optimistically named Stanley McChrystal. Enough bad news. This distraction brought to you by Subway. On Friday, Jared Fogle will be appearing somewhere. Remember Jared, the spokesman for Subway? He lost 425 pounds eating only Subway sandwiches. I don't get paid for how many times I say Subway. But Jared does. He's recently cured AIDS and cancer and will be appearing for all who care. In other good news, Pakistan reported that it killed 500 Taliban fighters in a recent battle. On a dour note, this battle took place only a morning's drive from Islamabad, Pakistan's capital, and its nuclear arsenal. Yet even more awesome news, gas prices have slowed to only 10% rise in the last few weeks versus 20% a month ago. Benjamin Cardin of Maryland introduced the Newspaper Revitalization Act, which would give newspapers 501(c) status, tax exempt, much like churches and political action committees, just as long as they don't endorse political candidates. Good luck with that. obituaries this week. The Space Shuttle, one of 2 remaining, will soon catch the Hubble telescope and do final repairs to this miracle of science. Hoping to give the Hubble another 5 years. Both the Space Shuttle and the Hubble programs are now being shuttered and are easily 2 of the most important advances in mankind since sharpened sticks and dental floss. NASA will now focus on ways of streaming porn faster via Wi-Fi. Also on the verge of death is the GOP, with Dick, don't extradite me Cheney, saying he would back Rush, got any pills Limbaugh, over colon, don't call me colon, Powell in 2012. Oh, and some jackass partisan reporter tried to point out that Obama asked for Dijon mustard while having burgers with his blowhard VP Joe Biden, hoping to compare Obama somehow to John the Chin Kerry. Did it work? Let's be honest, folks. Politicians, like credit cards, are all plastic, and they only want to take our money. Miss California USA should be required to pose nude. And that creepy guy, do you think killed his family? Probably did. See you next week. Lighter, less hairy, more probing. Next up on News or Bust, cake or meatloaf? You decide.